Hi, my name is Mike Dillard, and this is Self-Made Man, the podcast for men who want to leave their mark on the world and create a legacy of honor, integrity, and achievement in every aspect of their lives. I'm glad you're here, and once again, it is time to forge your destiny. So is it possible to launch a company from scratch and do $100 million in sales within 12 months? Well, the answer is yes, and today we're going to sit down and talk to the man who accomplished that feat and find out exactly how he did it. His name is Josh Bezoni. He's a very good friend of mine here in Austin, Texas, and the company is called BioTrust. 3 years ago, he and his business partner, Joel Marion, saw an opportunity to disrupt the nutrition supplement industry with a single mission: to produce the highest quality, most certified, and most clinically tested products on the market. And in an industry filled with cost-cutting and fraud, Josh and Joel decided to create the most tested and trusted supplement company in the world, and the market responded with over $100 million in sales and first-year revenue. But in order to hit those numbers, not only do you need a great product, but you need an incredible team. And in today's interview, you're going to hear the brilliant strategy that Josh used to recruit a world-class executive team. And just to give you an example of what I'm talking about, BioTrust COO was formerly the head of operations and logistics for Amazon in North America. So an unbelievable team has been built. And not only that, but Josh is going to fill you in on the brilliant marketing strategy that they used to acquire all of their customers without ever having to put their products on a single store shelf, and how partnering with the Make-A-Wish Foundation increased their sales by over 5%. This is, without a doubt, one of the most valuable sessions that we've ever had here at Self-Made Man, so please do yourself a favor and listen to it at least twice, and please do your friends and fellow entrepreneurs a favor and share this incredible episode and knowledge with them. So thank you so much for being here. Once again, welcome to Self-Made Man, and here is Josh Bezoni. All right, welcome back, everybody. Mike Dillard here, and today we have an opportunity to talk to my good friend, Mr. Josh Bezoni, and we are going to hear one hell of a story, specifically about how he and his partner, Joel, started a nutrition company from scratch just 3 years ago and scaled it up to more than $100 million in revenue. So, Josh, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Mike.
So you are out in Hawaii at the moment, and I am very jealous. I wish I was recording this there with you, but how is that going out there?
I'm not a cold winter guy, so I love Maui. We try to come out here in the winters to get away, and I killed my iPhone in a waterfall about a week ago, and so until today I've been without an iPhone, and it's been like the best week I've ever had.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you and I have known each other for many, many years, and it's just been absolutely awesome to watch what you and Joel have done here with BioTrust. And I've heard bits and pieces of this story. You had an episode with our mutual friend, Mr. Lewis Howes, on this topic a couple of weeks ago, which was one of the most valuable podcasts that I've ever heard. So I'm really grateful that you were willing to take the time to jump on Self-Made Man here to really go through some of the biggest lessons that you've learned in your experience building what has become one of the biggest companies in Austin. I think you have, 300 employees now and something crazy like that.
Yeah, we have 240 maybe employees, but then we hire a lot of contractors, and we also, we outsource our shipping and other things. And so we create jobs there at other partner companies. Over 300 people in general.
Cool.
But yeah, we become actually America's #1 e-commerce natural nutrition brand in size.
Well, let's dive into it, right? Because yeah. I can't wait to. This information is so valuable for anybody that's building a business, because what you're really going to hear today, guys, is how do you break through that plateau of $1 to $5 million a year in revenue, which anyone can do on their own with some outsourced resources. How do you break through that glass ceiling, which I've continually bumped into in my last ventures? So, Josh, let's start from the beginning and just talk about, what in the world is BioTrust for people who haven't heard about the business. How did you come up with the idea of it? And, just what is the story behind it?
Sure. So BioTrust is an all-natural nutrition brand. And we say in our mission statement, we're committed to integrity, excellence, and giving back. And the giving back portion, and actually the integrity portion, has really been the catalyst to our growth and success. In the supplement industry, unfortunately, there's a quality control problem, and then there's an integrity problem. And we can talk about that more in a few minutes. But basically, so BioTrust has a brand of products like protein powders, fish oil, probiotics, protein bars, protein cookies, a whole line of nutrition products that use all natural ingredients instead of a lot of the chemicals, the artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, etc. And we started the company 3 years ago. Our first sale was about 3 years ago. We had about a year of work prior to that putting into the company before we could launch. And my partner, Joel Marion, and I started it really because we just saw an opportunity to disrupt an industry that needed to be disrupted. Again, quality problems, customer service problems, efficacy problems. We wanted to make products that really work. And so that's basically in a very small nutshell, what the company is and what we do.
And so when you sat down with Joel and you're like, hey, let's do this, had either of you ever developed a nutrition product of any kind before?
Yeah, I got my start. I have a biology degree, and I got my start for a gentleman named Bill Phillips. He owned a company called EAS, and he wrote a book called Body for Life back in the late 90s. And right out of college, I went and worked for Bill. So he's one of my big mentors in life, big business mentors. And there at EAS, well, EAS, by the way, was about a $200 million supplement company, and all the pro athletes like John Elway back in the 90s used to use their products, and Brad Pitt and Demi Moore used to use their products to get ready for movies. And they were the biggest, hottest supplement company around. And so I was very fortunate to start there because I learned about how to create products based on science, real science. And I learned about quality control and how to make sure the products meet label claims. And I also learned about direct response marketing, which was really one of the most important foundation aspects to our business success, both Joel and I. And so I was a product formulator there at EAS in the late 90s. And a tip for people out there, if you have a chance to go to work for someone who is amazing and a leader in their field, even if it's for 3 months or 6 months or on a project, please do that, because Bill Phillips just opened a door for me that I never would have been able to go through on my own. And it was Golden, Colorado was kind of the hot spot of supplementation and nutrition at that time. So you hear about people like Tim Ferriss going to Silicon Valley, and I just recommend people, especially young people, to go to where the action is, so to speak. Like Austin today is a really hot spot. A lot of entrepreneurs are coming in, but I just think it's important to go to where great things are being done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, serendipity is, I think, half of most people's success.
Yeah.
Running into the right people at the right time, the opportunities that are created by that are never really expected, but they happen if you put yourself in the middle of the mix. Like you and I meeting, here in Austin, and all of the other entrepreneurs that we have here in town. So what was the single biggest lesson that you took away from working with Bill?
Wow. At the time, Bill was probably the most driven person I've ever met. I mean, he was just a machine. And I saw the work ethic that it takes to be successful. The guy was there 6 a.m. and leaving at midnight. He was I've never seen someone so passionate. So the number one lesson is probably do what you love, because he loved health. He loved nutrition. He loved health and exercise, weightlifting. And I just saw this guy just driven. He was the reason that company was so successful, and he was just driven. So that was probably one of the most important lessons I learned from Bill. And also, he really changed over 1 million lives. He had a book called Body for Life, sold over 4 million copies. He was the first guy to do a before and after contest. And he had over 1 million people go through a transformation, going from really unfit and unhealthy to healthy and fit. And I was one of the judges in his original contest. So we had hundreds of thousands of packets from all over the world coming in, and just seeing the transformations in people's lives. So working for a supplement company like that and seeing the kind of social change and the positive effects a company could have. And they were also very charitable, which was a big lesson for me. He did a lot with Make-A-Wish, and I continue to do that.
Yeah, I want to get into that in detail with you here later, for sure.
So those are the big lessons. Bill is an amazing person. Has just done a lot of good in the world.
So you've got, some inspiration from Bill. You've got some expertise in the nutrition industry, probably 4 or 5 years ago at your event here in Austin that I was at, that you held for people in the health niche. I believe that's when you met Joel, correct? Or had you all known each other at that point already?
No, I had a health event and it was called Fit Fest, and I invited all the top health entrepreneurs, I guess you would call them, in the country. And that's a great tip for people too, is you want to get in and create a big network, have an event. You had Ryan, is it Morin, a few weeks ago?
Yeah, he's got his event going on right across the street today.
Yeah, and he's bringing in all these big names, and I just tip my hat to him because that's what I did 5-6 years ago here in Austin. And I met all of our affiliate partners who have become so valuable to BioTrust. I met Joel Marion, my business partner, and met a lot of people in Austin. And it just really, BioTrust, that was the seed of BioTrust, was that event. And, I had that event in a time where finances were really tough in life. And I remember getting to the end of it, and after all the expenses, I didn't charge very much and all the meals we paid for. And I'd made $7 at the end of it. And I was so excited to make $7 and not lose money at that time. And when I look what's happened from there, it's really generated, this great company that we have today. So very fortunate to
good investment.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, BioTrust essentially comes out of that event, and I'm very curious as to what the startup process looked like for you and Joel before you went live. Was it a matter of sitting down and making a business plan? You've obviously identified a huge niche, and you've identified a way to stand out in the niche and provide more value, which is by providing higher quality products, more integrity products, more transparency in your sales and support process. And so you're going into a huge market and you're just going to provide a better quality product and experience, which is, I think a really solid business plan, frankly. And, now when it's just the two of you guys and you're mapping out this company, what are the things that you're thinking about? What is going on to that document? And who is the first couple of people that you're looking to hire when you don't have any revenue yet, but who are those key people that you're going to bring on to build the beginning of the team?
Yeah, when we started BioTrust, I went to Joel and pleaded my case, and Joel was already running a very successful ebook company, and he had a very amazing lifestyle company where he didn't have to work nonstop, and he made a great living, and he was very happy. But I called Joel the LeBron James of online marketing. He is just, I thought I was decent. And then I met Joel and I just realized that I'm like a shadow of Joel. I'm Dwayne Wade to his LeBron James in the marketing world. But Joel and I sat down and I said, there's a quality control issue in the supplement industry. We can disrupt there. Customer service is notoriously poor. We can disrupt there and have amazing customer service. The efficacy of the products, is there actually scientific studies done on the finished good products to show that they work? Most companies, probably 99% of companies never do that. So we can disrupt there. We can disrupt on the distribution of supplements. When you look at most supplement companies, they typically either go to retail, which is a very extremely difficult path to go down, because even if you get products on the shelf without demand, they just gather dust and then you get kicked out of the retail store. Or supplement companies typically put their products on a mall website, a big mall website with all these other competing products where people have to choose from, and they usually choose on price.
Amazon, essentially.
Yeah. So we thought that we could build a platform and really create a different distribution model. And so we created this platform with our partners to educate consumers, bring them in by giving away free reports. And once we gave away those free reports, keep in contact with the customer, treat them like gold, and just keep offering them content that they enjoy and products that they really want. So that was the genesis of why we wanted to start BioTrust. And right away, we got involved with the charitable aspect because I think that's so important. A lot of people wait until they start making money to think about becoming charitable. And we'll probably talk more about that on this podcast, but that's something we started right away.
Yeah, I'm assuming you outsourced a lot of your initial stuff as you're getting ready to launch the business. I'm assuming you outsourced a lot of the tech. Is that the case?
Yeah, I have a theory, or not a theory, but a rule, a principle in business that you always test before you invest. I've seen so many companies go in with what they think is a great idea and load up on inventory or spend millions building out an amazing tech platform, and then they can't even sell the product. And so for us, we wanted to do proof of concept. And so we really started with a small team, really small team, Joe and I, and really a small team of about 6 executives in different areas. And from there, we cover the bases and outsourced shipping, manufacturing. Most supplement companies don't do their own manufacturing, so you don't have to have these huge plants, which is something we'll talk about because not all manufacturers are created equal. And we kept customer service in-house because we thought that was extremely important. But yeah, we did outsource a lot of different tasks like tech, but we did end up building our own platform and our own online system from scratch.
And so when did you guys start? At what point did you start to build out your team? Because you've built, one of the secrets to your success has been the executive team and just the team in general that you've built there at BioTrust. When did you start looking for, your CEO, your CFO, and how did you attract those people? How did you end up bringing them on?
Well, I sat down originally and I knew each department we'd have to have a leader for. So technology, research and development, quality control, CFO for finances, operations, COO. And I made a list of 10 companies that I really admired in our space. And the key is I made a list of 10 companies who we wanted to emulate and we wanted to be like, or even better than those companies in the nutrition space. And not only the nutrition space, but just kind of the online e-commerce space. So I took those 10 companies and the list of people that I needed to hire, and I went on to LinkedIn. Now, some people will outsource a job like recruiting, and some people should. But for me, I just thought it made such a big impact when I would contact people as a founder of a company. I get a much better response than, let's say, if I outsource that for someone else to do. And I'd get on LinkedIn and I'd contact people from these 10 companies I had originally written down. And I would simply let them know, like I might contact a CFO of a big nutrition brand and I would write him an email that's basically a mini sales letter that would say, here's the BioTrust story. Here's all the great charitable things we're doing. Here's our growth. Here's how we're going to disrupt the industry. Do you know of any other CFOs in the nutrition industry that you would refer that I should talk to? And almost, 80% of the time that CFO would throw their hat in the ring. They would say, well, this sounds amazing. I would like to talk to you. And even if they didn't want to talk and they were happy where they were, they would refer to other people. So for example, as a small company, I ended up hiring a COO that was Bert as our COO. He was in charge of North American operations for Amazon.
Wow.
And we got a top tech guy from bodybuilding.com, which is a $300 million company. And we got a marketing guy from ediets.com. And the list goes on. We got people from EAS and Dymatize is a big nutrition company that who makes Post Raisin Bran acquired. And I didn't think in the beginning I'd have a chance of getting this type of top talent. But if you really have a strong mission, you're doing good as far as growth, and you can paint a compelling picture. A lot of people, I think, in the corporate world feel like they're being taken advantage of or they're underappreciated. So if you provide an opportunity and also allow them to have some equity in the game, then I was amazed at the type of talent that we could get as a very small company.
And so that was my next question. How big were you guys at this point? Were you a year old? What kind of revenue were you doing?
Boy, this is about 3 or 4 months into it. I had started another company. I've been running supplement companies since I was 25. And I had made the mistake in the past of growing a company too quickly without the talent and the infrastructure in place. And the wheels kind of came off the wagon. And I learned through that experience that you've got to build the infrastructure way ahead of the curve. And so when the initial results started coming in from BioTrust, I knew I had to make a move and I had to hire top talent and I had to build up this infrastructure that could handle 20x what we are currently doing. And so I did that pretty much right away. right after the first 3 or 4 months when I started seeing the results coming in. I knew the test phase had passed. I knew we had something powerful in our hands, and I just went to work. And Joel went to work that first year, just bringing on an amazing team. And we used LinkedIn really. And the cool thing is that once you hire an amazing executive to head up an area, as part of the hiring process, one of the questions I always ask is, tell me about your network. And if we were to hire you, what people would you need to hire and what positions? And also, do you have people in mind for those positions? And what would they cost us? And so we would do all that in the interview. And then someone that we hired could literally hit the ground and build the department out within a matter of months. And so once I hired that first key person, it was like a domino. They could hire the rest of their department, making sure that we have culture fits and the people that they bring in and top talent. And that was probably one of the most critical things we did as far as building the team at BioTrust.
I'm just picturing this process, in my head right now. And one of the big questions that pops in mind, you talk about testing the idea, getting some positive results in, and then building the infrastructure to fit, 20x, that growth. What in the world does that look like from an office standpoint, right? Because you've got to sign a lease of some kind, and it's not cheap, if you've got some A or B class office space. So what in the world do you do? Are you buying an office space for 10 to 20x where you're at, and you're just putting the money in with the expectation that the money's going to be there? What did that process look like?
Well, first of all, you have to know your profits, and you have to be a profitable company. We didn't take on any investors. We had no debt. Other people who start companies, they bring on a lot of investors and they have money to burn, so to speak. We didn't. We did something interesting. I wanted to hire people based on their talent instead of their geographic location. So we started out virtual. We didn't even have an office space. Our shipping department was outsourced with an amazing company, and we could store all of our products there, and they had plenty of room for growth. They had tons of space. It's a large shipping company, so we didn't have to worry about that. But our COO was from Nevada, Las Vegas. Joel's in Tampa. He didn't want to move. I didn't want to move from Austin. Our president, Chad's in Colorado. Our CFO, Dan, is in Denver as well. Nate on our marketing team's in Austin. Vicky's in Denver. The list goes on and on. So we started a virtual company. In today's day and age with, GoToMeetings and all these video chats and everything, you really don't need to have a centralized office space, although sometimes I wish we did. And now we do have half of our employees in Denver in an office. But originally, we didn't go into that expense. We started virtually.
Man, that just blows my mind. And, I've been coming to the same conclusion here with the hydro company. And I'm thinking about it. I was like, we can do every single thing that we need to do virtually. We don't need an office at this point. It just blows me away where you can just literally build a business from a laptop anywhere in the world that you want. Along those lines, if you're going to have a virtual company, you've definitely got to have some kind of structure, right? Whether it's how you guys communicate, how you get together on meetings. Who put that process, who put the processes in place and the structure in place so that you guys, ran like a well-greased machine, even though you weren't in the same location?
Well, that's not an area that I'm extremely strong in. And I think entrepreneurs need to realize the areas that they're strong in and the areas that they're not strong in. Joel and I are great product developers, great marketers, the typical entrepreneurs. That executive team that I hired, they went to work building the processes and procedures. And I only hired people that have done what we want to do. So they hit the ground and knew exactly what software to use. We use Salesforce. They knew all these processes for software for inventory control, supply chain, and they put all those processes in place and built the team around it. So really, it goes back to hiring people who have done what you want to do, and then once you hire them, let them work their magic on building out those structures. Now, Joel and I had a lot of input in those processes, but it was really run by the team. And it's a virtual company, it had to be extremely structured. And what I found with the virtual company, I used to have a company where everyone was in-house, and everyone always looked busy in-house. We had a big office with hundreds of employees. But when you get a virtual company, you don't see people, and so you really focus on the results. So through tracking and software, we see projects get done through our project management software. You can really see who's performing and who's not. When I worked in an office, I just would be like, Bob's really busy over there. He's always running around. He seems to be busy. So my point is, in a virtual company, you can really track results much better. And I think it forces you to.
What project management software do you guys use?
I believe it's Basecamp.
Okay, I was wondering if y'all use Basecamp or not.
Yeah,
and Slack, Basecamp. There's all kinds of stuff. That's awesome, man. I love to hear that part of the story, which I hadn't heard before. So that to me is super exciting. What was the single biggest risk or point of failure that you guys talked about? Or that concerned you? And was it on the business side? Was it on the product side, where it's like, hey, if we screw this up, it could mean the end of the business?
Well, one is customer service. You only have, that old saying, you only have one chance to make a first impression, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Having grown a company that grew too quickly in the past, I knew that you have to have great customer service. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Probably one of the things I'm most proud about as our company, because we treat our customers really well. And in today's age of social media, you have to treat people great. Otherwise, you'll quickly fail, because all the negative aspects, will get out there and you'll be in trouble quickly. So customer service was one. Another one was just inventory control, running out of product. We were concerned about. 3 is just being sticklers for quality control of a product. If you're creating a nutrition product that people are actually putting into their bodies, it's your responsibility to have the best quality control, the best natural ingredients. And so those were really that. And another one, of course, is technology. Our whole company runs off technology. We're an online e-com company. So building that initial technology so it was built to last, not fail, and not have limitations as we grew was extremely important too. So I know I give you like 4 points to a question. I think you asked for one thing, but they're all equally important.
Yeah. I bring it up because that's the question that I'm asking myself, right now, which is, in the investing world, when we have our monthly Tiger 21 meetings and we're looking at an investment deal, it's great to hear all of the projections and what it, may produce as a return. But the one question is, okay, how can this thing go sideways? How can it drown? And so I think that's an unbelievably important question. And, for me, for my venture at the moment, my one big thing is the product has to work. Like, it has to do what it says it has to do. And the quality has to be there, and it just has to work. And if that is not done right, then the whole thing falls on its face.
Well, yeah, the other thing is you have to be wary of competition, and you have to do the whole thing right as a company, because if you don't, someone will come in and do it better than you.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another company before BioTrust came to be that was a competitor of ours, and we just completely came in and disrupted everything in the nutrition industry. And we don't want to be those guys that get disrupted. So it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you asking these important questions about how you can serve the customer, how you can create better products, more efficacious products. And so we're always kind of on our toes and very grateful for the position that we're currently in.
Do you mind if I ask how much revenue you guys either did last year or just some kind of number to put it in context for people?
We went from 0 to 100 million in about the first year. And we've grown since then. So we've done, well over 300 million in our existence over 3 years, which is
amazing.
It's probably one of the fastest growing nutrition companies, I think, in history. From 0 to 3 years. But we call ourselves a 20-year overnight success story, because I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and it took me a long time to learn all these lessons to get the pieces together right. Starting as a young entrepreneur who'd never taken a business class, you have to learn these lessons the hard way. I'm envious of some of these guys who come out of Harvard Business School and start an app company and just explode in their first couple of years. That wasn't the case. There was 18 years for me of working, 80 hours a week on average, making huge sacrifices, and Joel as well, and our executive team as well. But there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears behind that story that, most people don't realize.
So that's a ridiculous amount of first year revenue. How in the world did you guys pull that off? Like, where are the sales coming from at that point? Because you're saturating a market with $100 million in revenue in 12 months.
Well, we really went out there before we even started the company and did partnerships with all these online companies who sell health content. So anyone who had a large email list or a large social media following, we went out to, and some of these people have been friends of ours and we've done business before in the ebook category. And we built these partnerships before we even started the company. We explained, our mission, our charitable mission, which we should still talk about, the quality control aspect and what we were doing and going to do better than other supplement companies. And we've got these great partners on board so that when we launched BioTrust, we had a built-in distribution network. Unlike a lot of companies who just create a great product and they spend all this money and then they sit there and go, oh boy, how are we going to sell this product now? Because you have to sell the product to stay in business. So we kind of did the opposite. We created the distribution network before we even really launched the company. And that allowed us to really grow quickly. So for these affiliate partners, we make up anywhere from 50%, for some of them up to 100% of their total company profits. So a lot of these companies are running at a break even to attract new customers. And then they promote BioTrust on the back end and we become their whole profitability center. And most of these companies don't want to run their own supplement companies because it's daunting. The amount of people you have to have, the infrastructure you have to have, the quality control aspects, the knowledge you have to have. It's a lot if you do it the right way. And a lot of these companies didn't want to do that. So we just became the back end for a lot of these companies. And it's been great. So anyone out there who, wants to sell nutrition products and has a large email list or social media following, just, go to biotrust.com and click on our affiliate partner link. And we would love to have you as a partner because that's how we've grown this company in the first place.
And from what I've heard, you guys have a pretty interesting affiliate program in the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you pay a lifetime commission.
Yes. A lot of companies out there, they'll give you maybe 10, 15% of the initial product sale. And that's not really a partnership because once as an affiliate or as a company, you promote someone else, you give your customer away and you get paid one time. So Joel had the idea to make it a lifetime program where if someone recommends a BioTrust product to their audience, they get paid a commission for life on that every time that customer reorders. And so we have customers that have been with us for 3 years that are still ordering from day one. And that partner who referred them keeps getting paid. Now, I want to make it clear it's not multi-level marketing whatsoever. I don't like multi-level marketing. It's not the pyramid scheme and all that stuff, but in the supplement space, and I don't like that, but it is affiliates and referral partners who drive that as just recommending our products to their audience.
And that's a huge decision, which is why I wanted to bring it up because that, we've played with that a couple of years ago in Magnetic, my first business, and it can be burdensome. It almost feels like a tax that never ends. And man, it was
what do you mean by that, Mike?
Well, let's say that it costs you $50 to acquire a new customer, right? In media buy, let's say you're advertising on Facebook and it costs you $50 to acquire that customer who spends $50, so you're breaking even on it. But all of their purchases at that point moving forward, you keep 100% of the revenue and the profits from that, customer, rather than if you have an affiliate and let's say you give them a 30, 40% commission and the cost to acquire that customer for you was essentially that commission, 30 or 40%, correct? And they continue to order, month after month, let's say 12 months for a year, and you're continuing to put out that commission, at which point you've paid out, 50% of that customer's value. Wouldn't it just make sense to go spend $50 one time to acquire that customer and keep 100% of the revenue?
Yeah, I think that our thought there is that we're not looking for a one-off transaction. We're looking to build customers for life, and we're looking to build affiliate partners for life.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead.
It really builds in that loyalty because we're in a true partnership, and the better that BioTrust does, the better that they do. Now we do buy our own media, so we are doing what you're suggesting, on Google and Facebook and all these different online ad sources. We do spend a lot of money on media, so we do have that channel as well. But for the affiliates, we just want to take care of them because we have access to their lists that really like and respect them. And the results are so much better than cold media. Cold media is tough to get to work.
Sure. As I'm thinking about it, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I'm playing devil's advocate. Obviously, it's worked very, very well for you guys. And as I'm thinking about it, if I almost change the context of it to thinking of it as a wholesale model, to where essentially you're just providing, your products to them or their customers at wholesale, and, they're getting their piece and you're getting your piece. And as long as they're buying, it's almost like a retail model at that point.
Yeah, it's like an online retail model.
Yeah. Very cool. So the company scaled up. You guys have gotten some great press here, specifically in Austin. I believe last year you were Company of the Year. Is that right?
We're one of the top companies to work for, yeah.
And a large part of that, I think, has to do with the mission and the charitable side of the business. And so this is something that I know you and I have talked about several times and that you're super passionate about. Could you dive into what role that part of your company has played in its growth and continued development?
Yeah, I am really passionate about this, and I want other companies to do this. And that's why I talk about our charitable mission. It's because I want other companies to do this, and it's really so easy to do, to make an impact. So when we started BioTrust, we wanted to do right by our customers. We also wanted to have an impact on society in general. And so the first thing we did was just say, whenever someone purchases a product at biotrust.com, we'll feed a hungry child for a day. And we partnered with No Kid Hungry. It's an organization, nokidhungry.org, I believe it is. And so far, we've done over 1.5 million meals for hungry kids. And that ties in great because we're talking about the importance of nutrition, healthy products, natural products. And we have these kids in our country who are going hungry. And so that was really important to us. Again, 1.5 million meals. And then we set sales goals. And when we hit a sales goal or some other goal in the company, maybe we want to get a project done, we'll tie in a charitable aspect to that. So we've, funded wells through water.org for tribes in Africa. We built 2 schools for Pencils of Promise, which build schools in third world countries that don't have schools in the areas for children. We just built 2 schools in Laos. And we go out with Habitat for Humanity. We actually hands-on in Dallas, go out and build homes for Habitat for Humanity. And we do all these things because our people want to work for a company that's doing good in the world. People want to buy from a company that's doing good in the world. And people want to stay with a company as employees that are doing good in the world. And as a business owner, I want to wake up in the morning and I want to know and look in the mirror and know that I'm doing something that's helping the world. I'm not just running a company for my own benefit. It's helping other people. And that's made a world of difference for me because I'll get out of bed in the morning and work extremely hard for my team because they're depending on me and for our charities. If it was just me alone in the vacuum, I don't tend to do so well. And the same with Joel. We work so well together because we know, and we work hard because we know we're supporting these charities and supporting our people and supporting our customers. So one thing I want every company out there that's listening, a business owner or a future business owner to consider on our order page, we just decided for goodwill, we would add an opportunity for customers after they placed an order on the order page to make a donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I fell in love with Make-A-Wish Foundation while I worked at EAS for Bill Phillips, Body for Life. And I actually granted a wish in Hawaii where a boy named Tony wanted to swim with dolphins. And for me to see this boy get out of a wheelchair, he had cancer, and swim with a dolphin was like life-changing. It was just such a special thing. And these kids and these families go through so much that I knew I wanted to make a wish a priority for BioTrust. And Joel wanted to as well. So on the order page, we said our customers could donate $1, $5, or $10, and they could add it to their order, and that we would match that donation. And we didn't really think much of it. We just wanted to do goodwill. And we tracked it because we track everything at BioTrust for conversion rates, and our orders went up 5% on our order pages. And we thought, wow, that's crazy. Why did that happen? And it turns out again that customers want to do business with people that are doing good in the world. And they see that you're doing good, in our case with Make-A-Wish. And I think it gives them more comfort in doing business with a company like that. And so by adding that simple thing on the page, do you want to donate $1, $5, or $10 to the Make-A-Wish organization? We've raised over $1 million for Make-A-Wish. Just by adding that, it took us 30 minutes to add it to an order page. And from that, we've granted hundreds of wishes for Make-A-Wish, impacted a lot of families, and it's just so easy to do. And I think everyone should do it. And again, there's benefits to a company. People have come, I've talked to people I've wanted to hire, and they said the reason they've come to work for us is because of all the charitable work we do. So it's a great recruiting tool. It's a great retention tool for employees. It's a great motivator, and it does so much good for kids in this case, hungry kids and Make-A-Wish kids, that it's just the impact is profound. It's probably one of the keys to our company's success. It's not probably, it is one of the keys to our success.
Is there a way that you provide some kind of confirmation or transparency to your customers who give a donation that, hey, this donation, yes, it was actually made?
Yes, we do it in newsletters, and we're also, you can't just go out and start doing this without contacting Make-A-Wish. I'm glad you brought this up. You have to become a partner. They have to approve the process. They audit your donations that are captured and make sure that the checks are going to them every month. And so you have to approach the charity and get permission to use their logo, and they have that in place. So yeah, I don't want anyone going out there and just putting up.
It could be abused, very easily, which is why I was asking how that worked. So.
Yes, and if you put up someone's logo of a charitable organization, you'll get contacted very quickly with a cease and desist if you aren't approved. So we're an approved national partner with
Cool.
Make-A-Wish.
Okay, I didn't know how that worked, but I figured there had to be something. So that's good to know. Yeah. Awesome. So what is next for you and for BioTrust and the vision? Is it more of the same? Do you have something bigger and grander on the horizon? What is next?
We want to be the most trusted brand in the industry. The supplement industry has a huge quality control, and they have a PR problem. There's a lot of negative feedback that's come out, a lot of negative news articles. So we want to be the trusted source in the industry, and we can disrupt the industry by doing things the right way. So to give you an example, someone would never go out there and just set up a shop and say, I'm going to become a dentist today.
Right.
I know teeth. I've brushed my teeth for life, and I think I could be a dentist. I'm just going to open a dentistry, and I'm going to start yanking teeth and cleaning teeth. No one would ever do that. But for some reason in the supplement industry, I have friends that contact me and people who refer people to me, and they say, oh, I'm starting a supplement company. And I ask them about 4 questions and know they have no clue what they're doing. And for some reason, they just think that creating products that people put into their bodies is just something that anyone can do. And the FDA has a lot of regulations around this, but people just don't follow them. Well, recently, the Department of Justice busted 100 supplement companies. So they're really starting to enforce this now. And I'm glad they're enforcing this, because we need to get out all the bad apples in the supplement industry. So many people have tried a product. It didn't work. Well, it's not that supplements don't work. It's that the product that they tried probably didn't have the effective amounts of the ingredients, may not have even met label claims, and they could have been taking, rice flour in a capsule for all the customer knows. So anyway, the Department of Justice is cracking down on these companies. I'm glad they are. They sent 5 people to jail. This happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago, because people in the industry are going out there and they're creating bad formulas. They don't have the expertise to create a formula in the first place. They don't use the scientific dose that you're supposed to use. They don't use the right ingredients, like ginkgo biloba, for example. It's a brain support product or ingredient. There are ranges of that, like wine. You can have the $1 bottle of wine or the $500 bottle of wine. The same thing when you go to buy ginkgo. You can buy the dirt cheap stuff or the super expensive stuff. So like BioTrust, we use the super expensive ingredient that has been shown in studies to actually work. So anyway, I'm getting a little bit off course here, but there's bad manufacturers out there using bad ingredients. They're not testing the products, or the manufacturer is giving falsified documents, lab testing to the brand. So the brand doesn't test their products on their own. They're not doing studies on the products to make sure that they work. It's just a huge problem. And if BioTrust does things the right way, people will get results with our product. They'll love the taste. They'll love the effectiveness of the products, and they'll keep coming back to us, and we want them to go somewhere where they can trust a company, because I'm making these products for me, for Joel's family, for my family. And it's just extremely, extremely important from a quality control aspect. One thing we do is we go in, there's these big manufacturers that all these companies use. We go in with a team of 10 people who are experts in supplement manufacturing, and we audit their plant. Now, they hate to see us coming. They hate to see BioTrust coming, because we literally go through their plant like an IRS audit. If we do this before we use them as a manufacturer, even if they have certifications like GMP certifications, we still go in, audit their plant. No one else that I know of does this, but you have to. You have to, if people are putting these products into their bodies, you have to make sure the quality is there. So we go in there, and there's a lot of manufacturers that we simply won't use. We have a mutual friend who called me 2 weeks ago, said, we just moved all our manufacturing to XYZ manufacturer. We went there and they had a bunch of shiny machines and showed us some lab reports, and we're really excited. And I said, yes, we audited them and they had an F, and we would never use them.
Holy smokes.
So, and then post the products being done, we spent over $1 million on testing. You have to go to a third party lab who tests the products and make sure that they meets label claims. And then when we're done with that, we do finished good studies like at the University of Tampa on all of our top products. And we make sure the products are efficacious and they work. So anyway, you asked what's in the future for BioTrust. We want to become the most trusted supplement company. And we're well on our way to doing that, simply because we're willing to do the work and spend the money where other people aren't. And so it's simply that. We want to grow. We want to double in size, and we want to become the most trusted brand in the nutrition industry.
Are people ever going to see your products on shelves? I mean, I know we talked about that in the beginning, but it seems to me like, to kind of capture the long tail and that big of a chunk of the market, even just from a branding perspective, that it would make sense for you guys to, be in Whole Foods or something.
At some point we may. We're not doing that right now because we're really good at online marketing, and the platform that we've built and the audience that we've built online. We have millions and millions of people who get our daily newsletters. We're built for online. The retail model, which I've been a part of before at EAS, is a completely different animal. And so maybe in the future, but right now we're just focusing on our strengths. That's one of our principles, is focus on your strengths. Entrepreneurs have a hard time focusing, as you know, Mike, because we all run around in the same circles. And that's been one of our keys, is to actually focus on what we're good at and not the areas that we're not. So eventually we'll get into retail distribution, I imagine, but just not in the foreseeable future.
And, this is, again, just plain devil's advocate here. I like to think of companies or products as they mature, developing and expanding their ecosystem, if you will, right? So people who are buying BioTrust products are obviously going to be interested in most health and fitness types of accessories or services or products. Is that something that y'all have thought about as well, as maybe expanding into completely different product categories, like let's just say either fitness apparel or fitness equipment?
No, because there's other people that do that really well right now. And I don't think that's an area that's prime for disruption. And so we want to focus on what we're good at in an area that really needs to be disrupted. So I don't think we will go into those areas. With focus isn't a really important thing. And I want to mention some things. Like Joel and I, when we started the company, when I was looking for a partner, Joel and I worked together on a project before we actually decided to become partners. And we made, in our operating agreement, an agreement that we cannot start other companies, because there's nothing worse than having a partner who's running 50 companies and giving you a very small amount of time, and you're over there working extremely hard. So Joel and I made an agreement to focus on BioTrust, make it our top priority, not take on other projects in business, not do outside consulting. And we do that with our executive team too, because in our minds, we're playing in the NFL. We're trying to win the Super Bowl. And you can't have a quarterback in the Super Bowl who's also, sidelining, playing Major League Baseball. It's really tough to do. So we stay extremely focused. And I have something called the 3 wise men in my company and Joel's company, that when we make big decisions, we run it through the 3 wise men in our company. And it keeps us on track, because sometimes entrepreneurs, including myself, get these crazy ideas. one day you want to start a smoothie company, and then the next day your smoothie company is going great but needs a lot of work, and you decide to start a t-shirt company, and then it's just all over the place. So before we make these big decisions, all of us have to agree. And if you're an entrepreneur that's working by themselves, you should have 3 mentors that you run all big ideas through. And I also have a rule. There's only 3 things on my plate at a time. And if I want to add another project, I have to take one of them off.
Mm.
And that's been extremely important. And also for focus, I outsource just about everything that I can outsource that I can pay someone less than what I make an hour to do. So for over 10 years, I hardly ever went into a grocery store. I never got my oil changed on my car. I didn't do lawn work. There's all these things. And some people might say, well, that sounds a little crazy, but I was working so much on my unique ability and working in the business that doing those other things really just ends up costing you money and takes you away from your goal. If you're training to be an Olympic athlete, you have to focus 100% on that task, and you can't be sidelined with a lot of these other things. So just a little couple words on focus there. And like I said, I lost my iPhone in Maui in a waterfall that I was swimming in the hike too. And I haven't had an iPhone in last week, and it's been the best productive week I've had in a long time. So for those of you out there who are tracking your productivity on an iPhone, get rid of the app and get rid of the phone.
Right. The phone is the problem.
The phone is the problem. Tracking everything on the phone is not the solution, because then Facebook pops up and texts pop up and everything else. So anyway, I digress a little there, but I just think it's so important for entrepreneurs to stay focused and not chase shiny things. And that includes hobbies.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely couldn't agree with you more. So this has been unbelievably valuable, Josh. Two last things for you. One, any other closing thoughts that you would like to share with the audience today? And then 2, where should people go to check out BioTrust, or if they want to try the products, what's the best way to go about that?
Okay, I'll get to that second part. There is something I wanted to mention we didn't talk about, and that is, if you're a beginning entrepreneur out there thinking about starting a company, one of the most important things I ever did was learn about direct response marketing, because everything in life is selling. Even if you're always selling your ideas, you're always trying to influence people, hopefully in a positive way. And when I watch TV shows like Shark Tank, these people have great ideas and great products. They just don't know how to effectively market their products. So I want to give some book recommendations real quick, because these made a huge impact for me.
Great.
And once I learned direct response marketing when I was 25, I started a company. And at EAS, the company I originally started working for, I made $46,000 a year. When I started my first company that sold a brain support product for athletes, I did $46,000 in the first week of the launch, and my very first launch of my first company. And I wrote effective sales copy, put it on a website in 1999, before Facebook, before Google was 1 year old. And I made a living that way. And so many people, if they want to start a company, they can just do it selling information. So a couple book recommendations, and you can put it in the show notes. I'll go through these quick. Magic Words That Bring You Riches by Ted Nicholas, game-changing book for me. If you can learn to write advertising copy and understand direct response marketing, you should do that if you're working on the online world at all. How to Make Millions with Your Ideas and the Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy. A book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. A book called Financial Freedom by Ben Suarez. How to Write Good Advertising or Advertisements by Victor Schwab. Books by John Capel, like Tested Advertising Methods. Old Gary Halbert newsletters. I learned to write marketing copy by reading Gary Halbert and John Carlton newsletters. Tony Robbins was a huge impact on me. Personal Power 2, getting over a lot of the mental barriers to not thinking that I could run a company when I first started when I was 24, 25. And Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. Tim and I are good friends. It was very impactful for me running the company. And also Dan Sullivan's Strategic Coach material, if you look up Dan Sullivan. So we can put those in the show notes. But when I started, I didn't know anything about business or marketing, and I read over 1,000 books on business and marketing. And it's taken me a long time. So I really got a real world MBA, that I wanted to share some of those resources, because it'll literally change someone's future if they can learn to sell information. You can write a book or make a video and go to clickbank.com and get affiliates and And it's the simplest way, lowest cost way to start a company for those out there thinking about starting a company.
I mean, that's what I did. Studied the exact same books, wrote an ebook, and I had the same thing. I went from waiting tables to making, 50, 60 grand a month selling that ebook. And I've read every single one of those. I've mentioned many of them, on the podcast here, especially Dan Kennedy's stuff. And guys, what you're hearing here is further confirmation that you cannot circumvent the work. You have to acquire the knowledge. Like, there's no getting around it. And, Josh is just another proof of the fact that this is the knowledge that you need to effectively market and sell a product or service, which is what entrepreneurship is all about. And there's no getting around it. You have to acquire this skill set. And so I would absolutely go through all of those books as quickly as you possibly can, because just delaying that process is simply delaying the results that you ultimately desire. Just get the work over with. So
yeah, and I was fascinated with it. Another thing before we close out, I just wanted to give some additional hiring tips really quick, because I've learned so many lessons there, and I think it would help a lot of people as they go to hire. If you have profits in a company, once you start maintaining those profits for 3 months or so and they're steady, I would take a percentage of those profits, 10, 20, 30%, and invest in great talent. And the thing about talent is you want to hire people who have done what you want to do. That's the most important key to hiring. In the past, I have tried to hire people that I thought I could groom, but then I didn't have time to really groom them. And if you're working for a fast-paced entrepreneurial company that's growing quickly, you just have to get in talent. It's like an NFL team. You're not going to hire, if you want to win the Super Bowl, you're going to get the best of the best in there. So a book called Top Grading by Brad Smart is an amazing book. His son, Jeff Smart, has a great book on hiring as well. When you're hiring, get someone in there who's a seasoned recruiter or hirer if you are not, because a lot of people don't have the BS meter that they need in hiring. You need someone with a good BS meter in hiring to get in people who are really going to do what they say they're going to do. And we've got great people at BioTrust because we've hired really well. Another couple quick bullet points is the best indicator of future success is past results. When I hire people, I look at their whole history starting like from high school, because if people are successful, they'll be successful. A winner is a winner is a winner. I just see that over and over again. Rarely does someone just kind of slack through life and then all of a sudden come to work for you and become amazing. It just does. As much as I like the person in the interview, I've made so many mistakes there. Don't overvalue where someone has come from. An example is when EAS sold, Bill Phillips ended up selling. A lot of people hired EAS employees thinking, wow, this person's just going to blow up my company. Well, it wasn't that person that was driving EAS. It was Bill Phillips. So I learned the lesson on that one. Mm. Another important one is work on a project as part of the interview. I can't stress this enough. You can talk is cheap, but if you have someone during an interview process actually work on a problem that your company has and present to you as part of the interview on how they would overcome that problem or challenge, I've learned so much more. You learn how they think. You learn about their ability to overcome and adapt on the fly. And it's so important to work on a project with someone before you hire them. Even if it's 2 hours in an interview, the more you can work with someone, the more you learn. I've had people that had the most amazing pedigree on paper. I would get with them, and as part of the interview process, I would have them present on how they would overcome a challenge or a product. And it just killed the interview, and we didn't hire them, thankfully. Mm. So it's very important. Another thing is what others say is more important than what the person actually says. I interview people and I talk to their references. I talk to their previous employers. I've always found that other people say is more important than what the person actually says. You'll get more honest answers. And the other thing is, just for early entrepreneurs out there, mistakes I've made is giving away too much equity in the beginning. Treat your company like it's $1 billion company when you're giving away equity, or it's going to be $1 billion company. Sometimes you get with a buddy and you start a company and he's the CFO and you're like, yeah, just take 30% because it's not worth anything at the time. Well, you might have to replace that buddy because you grow very quickly and he doesn't have the capabilities of handling a large company, and then he owns 30% of the company. I've had that happen in previous companies. So be very careful with it, with the equity. Used it to recruit and retain great talent, but keep in mind, you don't have to give away the farm because it'll come back and bite you like the Social Network movie.
Agreed. Right. So
just a couple hiring tips there. As you can tell, I'm eager to share information, and I just want to help out young entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs out there because I love entrepreneurs. It's what makes America great, creating jobs, creating opportunities. And I really think the world's problems are going to be solved by entrepreneurs, the greatest problems. I don't think it's going to be solved by government.
Yeah, well, clearly. And for those of you who doubt that, just go read Atlas Shrugged and you'll be thoroughly convinced. So super valuable stuff. As always, Josh, where should people go if they want to try BioTrust products?
BioTrust products, I'd love if someone wants to try our new brain product, it's called Brain Bright. They can go to freebrainbright.com, and Bright is spelled BRIGHT, freebrainbright.com. All we ask is you pay $5 for shipping. It's not forced continuity. You'll never be sent anything in the future, and you'll never be charged anything in the future. It's just paying for the shipping to get a $40 product to your house. And a recent study we did at the University of Tampa showed a 240% increase in brain cognitive ability as far as memory and making fewer mental errors. So if someone wants to try that, we'd love to give you something free to earn your business at freebrainbright.com.
I have to say, that's awesome that you guys are not doing any kind of like upsells or continuity or any of that stuff. That's pretty amazing.
Well, we're not doing forced continuity.
Yeah.
A lot of people give away a free product and then they stick you with some monthly program you have to join. And we don't do that. We want to earn their business and trust. If you want other products, companion products, after you get that product, we'd love to have you go to biotrust.com. And really for us, affiliates are the lifeblood of our company and our partners. So anyone out there who has a list, an email list of customers they contact on a regular basis of 25,000 people or more, go to biotrust.com, click on the affiliate partner link at the bottom. We'd love to get you promoting BioTrust products. They're great products, and we have lifetime commissions. And anyone with social media presence out there with a large social media following, we also have people on social media that promote BioTrust. And we love our partners. We create great products, and we do great charity work. So it's a win-win-win-win for everyone. And that's the important part of business, is to make it a win for the team members, for society in general, and especially for the customer. It's one of our top mottos. So that's it. If anyone wants to contact me directly, CEO@biotrust.com. I have someone who will filter through those, so I will not answer directly if you're trying to sell me something. But if you're legitimate and have a question, I will do my best to answer those.
That is super generous of you, Josh. Thank you so much. Well, guys, go check it out. Let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments below over on the website if you have a chance to jump over there. And, as always, this is one of the most enlightening pieces of education that I've had here on Self-Made Man, Josh. It's just been awesome. And congratulations on your success and the example that you're setting, from a giving standpoint, and the mission behind your business and what you guys are doing in the industry to raise the bar of quality for everybody. And man, thank you so much for the time today. This was awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for what you're doing with Self-Made Man. I listen to your podcast all the time, and I'm really excited about where you're going in the future and the projects that you're working on. We've talked about a lot of those.
Awesome, brother.
Yeah, just really appreciate you and your hustle.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Well, thank you guys once again for listening to the show. If you got some value from this, which I know you absolutely did, share it. Tell people about it. Help us spread the mission and the message here for Self-Made Man, and we'll see you next week. Take care.